Family, what it do? It's your girl Toot, and I am back with another video. Hey man, we are reacting to the interviews that Miss Parker did with the evangelist Kenneth and other people. Now listen, for the people who don't know, I'm going to give you a little synopsis because the little people are confused. They're like, who is Kenneth? Okay. First of all, before we even get started with that, make sure you go over there right now and smash the subscribe button to Miss Parker. Let's get her to 10K yesterday. You feel me? Quit playing. These were some very good interviews, and we're getting a lot of great insight from these interviews. So first of all, shout out to her. Now I also want to say, listen, it's always justice for Naziah, and I hope that everybody that's involved with this baby, not only do you rot in hell, yes, all of that and then some. Okay, now a lot of people is like, who is Kenneth? Okay, I too was a little confused at first, but Kenneth is the person who supposedly accused another man of being the one that stayed next door to Naziah and was the one who allegedly had inappropriate relations with Naziah. Now a lot of us had heard inklings of this artistic man. Now Kenneth pointed the finger at Daryl, which we just did that video. And Daryl said, hey, I ain't never even met these folks. And even though his interview started off a little rocky, I'm not going to even lie to you, I believe a lot of his accounts. There were some things that I felt like he wasn't 100% honest about, but for the most part, the things that mattered the most, I think that he was honest about it. I really don't think that he knew anything about Naziah or anything, which makes me want to say, well, why would Kenneth lie? You feel what I mean? So Miss Parker did a interview with Kenneth. So now you guys should be on the same page of whose was. Okay. Now let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Switching lanes with Miss Parker. Miss Parker, I hope everybody's having a blessed Saturday. I appreciate everybody for pulling up today. Let me get my shout outs really quick and I'm getting right into this, okay? Hey, Vibrant. Hey, Janet. Thank you for becoming a member, Janet J. Thank you, Diana. Welcome. Vibrant. What's going on? Tammy C. Thank you for becoming a member, Latanya. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 under the Copyright Act, 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism.
Darnell was another alleged artistic man who had said relationships with Kenneth. Okay. Now, Kenneth was the person who stayed next door. Darnell was his lover once upon a time. Now, Kenneth was pointing the finger at Darnell, like Darnell is the one who I feel had inappropriate relationships with Naziah. Miss Parker sat down with Darnell and he said, hold up now. That did not happen. I did not know anything about no Naziah. I knew about Annette, but I never met nobody in that house or none of that type of shit. Now from that, you know what I'm saying, it opened up some more doors that we already was kind of going down. You know what I mean? And confirmed some things that I felt like was really, really like, wow. You dig? So that is who this person is. Now, this is a person who is said to have been very close to the people. Annette, the Harrises. So we're gonna get into that. Now, like, it looked like this video is this showing that this motherfucking 5 hours? Hey, bro, this 5 hours? Shit. Hey, we gonna have to break this bit down. Hey, for real, goddamn. Hey, this 5 hours? This for real?
Comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research and educational purposes, and allegedly for
nigga, this like Roots. Miss Parker. Man, they like Roots. Man, if y'all don't get that lady to 20K, they like Roots.
Everything, okay? Hey, Thankful, what's going on? Talk with Prince, my sister's already up here with me. Please don't forget to hit that like button as you come in or pass by. Turn on your notification bell, share the live. Riders, I have a YouTube goal.
Everybody go over there right now while you sitting here. Go subscribe. Subscribe. Everybody go here right now. If you ain't subscribed, go subscribe.
Lane membership's also available. Say hello to your neighbor as you come in. Blah, blah, blah. Thanks in advance. Please refrain from using cuss words in the chat. Please and thank you, Broken Crayons. Hey, Regina. Hey,
Parker, you know I love you, but we got a lot of work to do. I got a speed pad at Park. We know. Goddamn, don't fuck with me, Parker.
And hey, thing right. I don't know what's going on. You can welcome you guys. So this is Evangelist Kenneth. So Evangelist Kenneth came on board. He came to the scenes, part of the Naziah Harris story, because Shank Rock was doing this commentary and he was covering some stuff that we haven't covered. So he came across Evangelist Kenneth story, that affiliated him with Naziah Harris. And yeah, Kristen, I'll check it. I'll check it later, okay? But yeah, so this is Evangelist Kenneth. This is my moderator, Talk with Prince. She connected me and Evangelist Kenneth together. And as we watched when Shank Rock did his commentary and stuff like that, we seen that Evangelist Kenneth had videos of Naziah and stuff like that. So we're gonna get into the who, what, when, where's, and why's. Welcome, Evangelist Kenneth. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
How you doing, Talk with Prince? My sister, my rider.
I'm doing well today. How y'all doing?
That Kenneth?
Good. Okay, so Evangelist Kenneth. Whew. So Shank Rock came across. He was doing his commentary on the Naziah Harris story. We've been
C.
covering
Hubbard.
for a few months
Facts.
now, and he came across, catching some videos of you at a birthday party, you and Naziah. But we're gonna get into all of that. But kind of first tell us a little bit about yourself, and then how did you get affiliated with the Harris family?
Well, of course, I
You cut out. Talk with Prince. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Kenneth, you kind of cut out. Sis, text him and skip. Miss LBIC. Hey, Vanshi. Might have had a phone. Tell him hit that link again, sis. Sister. I'm a mini guy. Back.
yeah,
Yes, yes. It's always like that for some reason.
and it stepped off the mic. But anyway, I met Florentino when I stayed over on Ferris over in Highland Park. We met off of BGC.
Now, for people who don't know, Florentino is allegedly Annette's son. Okay? Now, see, now, somebody enlighten me in the comment. Now, will Florentino over at the house sometimes, too, with them kids? Let's just keep going. This shit, let me go get my...
Which is no longer available no more. I think BGC got shut down a couple of years ago for whatever reason. I do not know. Um, but we started talking, and at some point we became a couple. After that, during that
Can you
time,
let everybody know, Kenneth, who Florentino is?
oh, that's
Right.
Annette's son.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And so
Who's saying that's the cop? Who in here talking about that's the cop? Ain't nobody... Who the cop? Florentino supposed to be Annette's son.
we became a couple because I'm LGBTQ. And we became a couple, and we end up living together. Uh, I got, you know, in with the family, and we were all friends, and we're still friends. I mean, me and the family are still friends. Uh, and so I would always go over there and take Annette out to the grocery store when she had to go shopping, and we did a lot of fun stuff together. As far as just going out. I would crack jokes on different clothes that I seen in the store, and she would be laughing and tell me I was crazy, but cracking jokes on those clothes and things like that. And so, just as time went on, the years started piling up. Now in 2000, I want to say it was 2000, maybe 13, that me and Florentino broke up. We was together about 5 years, and we broke up in 2013. And but even after that, after time, the family and I, we still continue on to communicate and still hang out. And
Miss Faye, thank you so much for the super chat. Listen, I want to say thank you to everybody who's super chatting. Now, another thing you can do, you can pay cheaper. Instead of even giving me that, you can come over here and just support the Twitchy and sub to the Twitchy so I can hit 4K. But goddamn, I had to stop the video on you, Miss Faye. Hey, Miss Faye. Miss Faye, the way you dropping it like it's hot. You got them taxes. Hey, you cooking, Miss Faye? Where you live at? 'Cause I want to come to your house. I bet there's all types of shit in your fridge. Shit me. Thank you, darling.
And then I ended up having to move to Cincinnati because Detroit was not offering any type.
He must got another phone call, God.
Yeah, Florentino. What's his name? Kenneth. Tell him to call you
You
back.
up here talking with Prince Seal? Lalizi, so
Now that'll kind of tie into what Darnell said, because Darnell said they was living in Ohio. In Ohio, he left him in Ohio and came back to Detroit. So we got a little truth. Let's go.
why everybody always say, I just don't want him to kick himself down. If you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Florentino, how was it? Was it good? How, what type of person was Florentino? Because he has came into the picture a little bit.
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. The calls be coming in, and it's like when you know. But anyway, Florentino, for the most part, we had a pretty good relationship. Up until uh, you know, we just didn't set horses with communication. It was always everything ended up an argument or it was just too much. And so I had called Annette and told her, I said, he's gonna need to come back home with you, and I think we had one last altercation where Annette was over at my apartment and after that happened, I left and went over to a friend of mine's house and I stayed away from my apartment for a couple of days. And when I got back, he was gone. So that was a good thing because I really didn't want to fight him because I felt that he was a smaller frame guy. And I felt that because I was
It's the rise of my breasts, the gallop in my stride. I'm a phenomenal. This nigga sound like Maya Angelou like a motherfucker, bro. That shit got me weak here. Hey, no, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm silly. Don't listen. It's this. I've been suspended. Now I'm back. I'm lit. I'm sorry, but he don't sound like high rise. You don't sound that. I'm so sorry.
bigger that, if I was to hit him, that it might hurt him. And I didn't want to do that. That was never an intention to want to do that to him. Never was. We just didn't set horses. And so, sometimes you meet people and you get relationship with them and you find out that maybe you shouldn't have. Maybe you should have just been friends because the relationship don't work out. So after that, uh, like I said, I ended up moving to Cincinnati in 2000. And when I actually came
I'm
here in
sorry. I'm
2014, but I
sorry.
didn't stay. I officially say 2015 because um, that's when I literally just stayed. I didn't. This had became my residence here in Cincinnati. So I still stayed in contact with Annette. She was kind of like an auntie slash mama to me. She knew my mother before my mom passed, and my mom had talked to her and asked her if she would look out for me, even though I'm grown, but mothers, you never grown to your mother, you never grown to anybody that care about you, especially if they've been knowing you since you was, a kid or whatever. But nonetheless, this situation with Nevaeh, I've been around Naziah, since she was in the rock in her car seat, um, since she was a baby. And I met her brother. He was 4 years old. Um, so they were both around me from very young ages, and they would come over with me and Florentino, um, and we would go to church. Uh, we would go places. They would be over there, and they just had fun. And sometimes it'd be a weekend, sometimes it would be a week. But then they'd go back home, and it was business as usual.
Let
Now,
me
when all the
Can I ask you a
yeah,
question real quick?
sure,
You were stating that Naziah and Vari would go to church with you and things like that. But let me ask you a little bit about Annette, because it was one video that you and Annette was leaving a park, and y'all had all the kids in the car, and you was going kind of fast, and Annette really got the cussing and stuff. And we've heard throughout this case, we've seen videos and interviews with Marquita's boyfriend, and he was saying that Annette had an evil side to her. I don't want to make you overstep your boundaries with it or whatever. But he was saying she had an evil side to her, and she's always, they said she always put on this front of holier than thou, and she was cussing a lot. And it's the second video that we've seen her like.
Can y'all stop it in these comments? I'm trying to move on. I wish y'all to grow up. Like, dead serious. I'm sorry. Y'all know y'all hear it too. But if y'all keep talking about it, I'ma fuck up. And I'm trying to get back grounded. I'm trying to reset now. Stop, BJ. Yo, BJ, stop. Can you stop it? Like, for real, can y'all stop it? Dead ass.
Really cussing, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So, how was Annette?
well, me and Annette always have our own little conversations and stuff like that. She would tell me about some of the things that concern her, and we talk about the Bible, and we'd also talk about life events and stuff like that. Um, and I guess as with anybody, that sometimes we can overstep that, and our mouth can get the best of us. And I mean, I'm not to judge anybody, because catch me on the wrong day, you might get cussed out. It's not something I'm proud to talk about, but I'm human. As with anybody, we're human, and we are subject to say things sometimes that we shouldn't say. That's why we have to ask God daily for forgiveness, because nobody is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, yes, sometimes it would give, if you didn't know her, it would give you the perception that there was a mask there. It definitely would do that. I can't hold that one back. However, there was some things that I thought that could have been done a little bit different than how they were. But
Can,
again,
can you
uh,
elaborate on that? Like certain things, like what?
well, I know that Tavarius and Naziah, they were under a lot of pressure, because when you have a mother who's strung out on drugs, that's a lot of weight for somebody their age to have. First of all, to have to handle anyhow. First and foremost, and then secondly, to have no type of counseling or support on that matter.
Okay.
That kind of made it even worse. Uh,
Okay, but before we can get to Vari and Isaiah, since you and Annette seem like y'all sit on a porch together, I mean, you do know that lady was the first victim, right? She didn't deserve that same counseling and shit. And maybe Vari and Nazaya and everything, it would be a different story. See, I hate that. How you gonna skip a whole generation? Y'all folks get on my fucking nerves. I mean, so you don't think that Annette deserves no accountability? Kenneth?
And I think the last thing I would be thinking about is a clean house when my life is going through shambling pieces, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but nonetheless, um, there was never a time that they were, as far as food, clothes, they were never neglected in those areas. Never neglected. I went to the store many times because I was the driver with Annette. Uh,
Yeah, we know you drives. We know you the driver. We know.
and she would always spend between $1,300 to $1,400 on food.
I mean, that's sound about right. It's about 11 kids in the house. She should have about 2 bands and food stamps. The fuck you mean?
And clothes and stuff for them, so they was never hungry. They were never hungry. But you know, it does sometimes take more than food and clothes to administer to people. It takes some time to listen. Yes, you are mama. Yes, you are grandmama. Yes, you are supposed to be the leader at this point. But your leadership skills are only compared to your following skills. You can't be a good leader if you're never a follower. You have to take some time to listen to the tears of your children. You have to take some time to do that. Because if you don't, it's just like trying to lead something and you don't have the schematic for it. You're gonna go the wrong direction. And unfortunately, in the day and age that we live in today, that schematic is forever changing. It's forever changing.
Let me
And so
let me ask you this real quick, Kenneth. Sorry to cut you off. She
No,
said,
don't.
"What
Yeah, cut them
areas could
off.
Annette have improved in upon her family?" And another question is, why the chains on the fridge?
now I've never seen no chains on her refrigerator. I've
Yeah.
never seen that. In fact, if anything, I've always known Annette to have more than one refrigerator, and she kept that refrigerator full at all times.
Well, maybe if she had more than one refrigerator, maybe the one you seen wasn't the one with the chains on it. But she had 2, 3 refrigerators, right?
I never hear her deny them to have whatever they she had three refrigerator two refrigerators and a pantry area where she kept that thing stocked with whatever they wanted to eat. They were able to access that food at any point in time they wanted to access it. Now, of course, at nighttime, she locked the pantry up because you have to set some type of order in the house, and I understood that. But during the daytime, they was always able to access food, water, Kool-Aid. I mean, whatever they wanted.
All right, so she was able to get Nazai and them had all the food in the world, but she couldn't get pads. Noted.
Just the
At any,
basics.
yeah.
So why? Because we do got pictures of her. I do got a video of Nazaya doing a TikTok, and it's definitely some heavy chains on the fridge. But at the time, you're saying when I was around, there was no chains. It was a lock on the deep freezer, but it was no heavy chains.
Well, I imagine if there was any change,
Right,
she had to
Monica.
put any change, that
Right,
probably would
Monica.
have been because at a point in time, when she started becoming a foster care parent, she had, the little babies, and she didn't want to risk them getting crawling inside of the freezer and getting harmed. So she had to have some type of security on those appliances, because this is like when you throw an appliance out, they advise that you take the doors off so won't nobody get trapped up in there.
Yeah. What areas do you think that Annette could have improved in?
I think listening might have been an option there because I know many parents, and I come from the '80s era, and I know a lot of times the parent, they some of them got to this point where they didn't necessarily. I don't know if they did it intentionally, but they just didn't necessarily listen as much as they should have because we're living in an ever changing world. And just because it happened one way 20 years ago don't mean it's going to happen the same way now because we do live in an ever-changing world. And these children nowadays are not at the level that we were 10, 20, 30 years ago. These children is doing everything but coming out with driver's license and a deed, for a house. So we have to listen to these children because they're in a different era than we were 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not saying that it's all good, but I'm not saying it's all bad. The Bible said that the children become wiser and weaker. I do know that. And so I believe listening should have been an option. More listening should have been an
Yeah.
option.
So
This man talks, I mean, too damn much. Where's Naziah, nigga? I'm so sick of this already.
what was it like for Vari and Nazaya? What was the behavior between Annette and
Reading rainbow
Honest,
ass
Dr.
shit. Tell us
Honest?
what we need to
What was
know.
the behavior with Annette with Vari, the relationship with Vari and Nazaya as far as you can? Because I want to kind of get into that now. You said we'll get into that after you kind of tell us the relationship that
Cause she asking amazing ass questions and this nigga going all the way around the orbit about it. It's like the question, answer what she's asking you. The fuck? Bro, like what the hell is you got going on? Like the questions is being asked. This nigga start talking and then he all of a sudden he on the book of Psalms.
you witnessed and some of the things that you kind of heard.
Well, up until she gained custody of Ari and Naziah, it was just a typical grandmother uh, granddaughter relationship. I mean, it wasn't much of a change even when she got custody of them because they were basically with her anyhow. Because the mother was strung out. The mother was strung out, and I think I think it's a shame and a disgrace that lady is using this loss of her daughter as a means to get money to get high, and we all know that's what she's doing.
I mean, I haven't seen Lady promote anything. Let's just start there, first of all. And second of all, it's just like if you're going to be consistent and care about the children, let's start with Lady. Okay? Because it's crazy to me like how it just seemed like Kenneth got so much disdain towards Lady when her mother in fact was a duplicate of her. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm trying to really understand this part.
There's no
Okay.
secret in that because when she came down here, she had to come here to Cincinnati to go through some rehabilitation programs. But when she got down here, she did none of that. But on the contrary, she came down here and got in debt with some of the drug people down here.
So hold that thought. Hold that thought right there. Hold that thought with lady. I want to get to that. You said we talked and you said that you heard Naziah and Vari whispering all the time because everybody's asking like, why did Vari run away? So with the Vari and Naziah, what did you hear? What are some of the things you heard?
They did have conversations, and it was one particular day that I was sitting out in my van and I was listening. I don't know what I was doing. I maybe I've just been coming from somewhere on the phone talking or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember the conversation that was had. And they used to sit up there in the kitchen and when sometimes even with the window open and they had conversations of saying what they wanted to do, and they wanted to leave, and they was tired, and this and that and the other. And it's just so funny that these conversations that they had, and this was like maybe a year before this happened, but these conversations are actually coming into play. I tried to make a slight subtle reference to Annette about it, but she kind of snarled it off like, nobody paying attention to them and that. They always talking this and that and the other. But I don't think they were just talking. I really don't. And that's what gives me reason to believe that Nazaya's not dead, but she's just done ran away. She done ran
Okay.
away.
Okay.
Okay, now this starting to make sense of what this is. Okay. Yeah, boy. And when you start adding the van and the things that go back in the day with it, you see right now why he's trying to make it seem like this little girl is alive. Now, see, this is why it gets spooky to me. Because this page all of a sudden is activated, this Instagram page, along all these times when everybody trying to insinuate this little girl is to see. This is where he almost is like a plant. We know what these are, like a bot. He's here to deflect. To get the we already know he didn't blame Darnell. Darnell, like, I never even met these folks. Which in all actuality, we can verify. Now we'll do that later on. I can show you exactly how I don't feel like Darnell ever met Neziah and them. Facts. The timeline just do not add up. Period. But this is getting very, very, very crazy right now. And Kenneth, I don't know, my boy. It seemed like you really, really trying to stick up for the netty poo.
Okay, I'm gonna get to.
You
We're
know.
gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. So you did say you did hear them having conversation and things like that, and about leaving and stuff like that. You said maybe they couldn't handle the pressure. Was you around when Vari actually left?
No, I wasn't. I was not. I was here in Cincinnati. In fact, one day I had called down there because I wanted to talk to Vari and Isaiah because me and them had the closest bond because of just me being there when they were kids. And so I wanted to let them know that I had just filled out some paperwork with my bank, with my insurance company, because I wanted them to know that it's set so that if anything were to ever happen to me, they would get everything.
Kenneth, what the fuck? Huh? So you would call children and tell children that and not the guardian? Nah, hold on, man. Some ain't, man. Some ain't smelling right. I smell shit. What? Huh?
And you
They
did
would get
state that you did, when you and Florentino was together, you told me you was like Naziah and Vari was always with you, and your mother was even like a grandmother to them. And
that's the truth.
was it a reason? Was it because of they felt the Annette not caring in the home, and you was trying to shelter them in a sense? Can was it like that because you felt like they wasn't getting enough attention, enough love? Why did you cater to them of all the kids?
Well, at the time, they were the first two that was around. This was before Shannon and Marquita had started having, children. This was before, so they were really the only two that was around. Because the older daughter,
Is Vari not older than Janiyah? Somebody please tell me what this man talking about. Huh? So what the fuck is he talking about? Okay, okay, cause I know this some good bud, but I know I'm not that crazy. Okay.
I think her name was Beauty. Yeah, Beauty was always with her mom, and her sister was always with their mama. I mean, they came around sometime for the weekend, but at the end of the day, it was basically just Naziah and Tavarius there. So they were really some of the only ones that was really around to cater to. And then by me and their uncle being a couple, I wanted them not to feel that I was taking him away from them. Uh, And so I would always say,
Nigga, why would they feel like you was taking Florentino? He ain't the provider. Well, bro, hold on. I gotta.
y'all come
yeah,
on
this.
over, or
Am I
they'd
being?
ask to come over, because we was never at home. I mean, even when they came over, they was never really at my house, because we was always going somewhere, either to church or the choir rehearsal or to the park or something like that. They was never really just sitting at home idle.
Okay. So I'm gonna get into lady, but this is what I want to get into kind of next. So um we got this birthday party, right? And you're recording. You are the man of the hour with recording. And little did we know that you was the man of the hour with this recording of this birthday party that was coming up, because now we're getting into Jarvis. Yes, please let me cook, y'all. Please.
Yeah, let her cook. Yo, this is funny part, cause boy, that birthday party, man, when we reacted to that shit, boy, we would die. And that did a sonic boom leap over to Jarvis. You know, I don't understand why you coming in and out the how you can't be flying in and out that nigga. She was talking to that man like that was her man. I said, what the fuck? Hold on. Fucking Marquita all over there. Hey, Jarvista. I'm like, this nigga's a regular. Y'all trying to make it seem like that man went in the crib. Shit, y'all missed him when he went at that crib.
Let me cook. I get y'all got questions, but let me cook, y'all, please.
Please let her.
For a second.
Come
You
on
get what
now.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to turn the comments off. I don't. But you're the man of the hour. So in the text messages in court, because I don't see Naziah in this picture or whatever.
Nope.
I see that one of the text messages is Naziah asking, telling Jarvis to come down. They're cutting the cake. Come on, they're cutting the cake. And we never seen Naziah in this picture. And so can you kind of take us back to the birthday party? And because Annette said at the court he was never in the house, never. He only pulled up outside. He was never in home. But in
That is
your
offending.
video that was so captivating, he's in that house. And she asked him, was he doing a flyby? He's supposed to be family. Was he staying? And
Yep.
stuff like that. So that doesn't sound like somebody that's not in the house. So can you kind of break it down about the birthday party?
Let's call a spade a spade. She even was mad that he wasn't in the house. Like, nigga, you either gonna come or go. So she was okay with him being there. And I mean, we already knew that. You dig what I'm stuff? This stuff is it's just beautiful to see it's confirmed.
And stuff like that.
Nah,
I
Takia.
think that was Zairius, the one they call Porker, Marquita's son. I think that was his ninth birthday party, if I'm not mistaken. And I did a Facebook Live of that birthday party. Um, I tried to get all of them in on the picture in the video. Um, it was a way to remember the birthday party, as well as it was a way to, you know, even have other birthday wishes, whatever. So, when that birthday party was there, I believe he may have streamed through, uh, kind of like a hello, how you doing, goodbye. But and I can say that he never lingered in the house, other than when he was helping to paint something or move something, or do some heavy lifting that maybe Annette could not do. That's the only time he would.
Kenneth, shut up, please. Stop it. Kenneth, why did Annette say what she said if he's never in the house? Huh? Kenneth, answer that part, please.
Was in that house. I
Golly.
mean, he really didn't just sit there and do no chilling in that house. No, he didn't do that. He was always a fly through, because it was he had to go back to that job he had. He was working over there on Warren. I think it was an oil change place that he worked at. That's what I was told.
I pulled all this shit up, y'all. Just go down in the crates. You know, you'll get all the oil change places. We uncovered this shit right here because it's sickening. You dig? And this man just sitting up here telling bold-faced lies. I don't even understand why we talking about Porker. What we talking about Porker for? She asked why Naziah wasn't in none of them pictures. Because I looked at the video. We all did on live. And we went by frame and we could not find a Naziah. So I don't know what Kenneth is talking about.
And
Facts.
so he never did no serious hanging in that house. No, no, no. Now, if there was any serious hanging that I did not know of, because again, at what point in time I had moved from Detroit and I was here in Cincinnati and I can't see everything that happens and I'm not there. Um, I don't know, but when I was there, I never seen him do no serious hanging there in that house. No.
And is it fair to say that, from what we've talked about so far, you heard Naziah and Vari always talking about they wanted to leave and stuff like that, and you did say you felt like some things that Marlene, y'all let me cook for a minute, okay? I'm gonna get to y'all questions and things like that. Just give me a second. But you know, you said it was fair to say that Annette could have listened more to them and things like that. And you never felt like it was nothing more than just her needing to listen. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You didn't see anything else or felt anything else to why the kids automatically just felt like I want to leave. We want to leave. You know what I'm saying? Because we that Avari eventually did run away a couple of times and stuff, and he
I
did
heard
say
about it.
he said there was no love. They was never able to do anything. He didn't say anything about touching or anything inappropriately, but he did say that there was no love, there was no affection, and stuff like that. And also coming up on some of the text with Jarvis Butts, because now I want to kind of get into Jarvis just a little bit. Naziah did ask Jarvis for tampons and pads and stuff like that. I'm just say sanitary products. And if you're getting love and attention in the home, you're not gonna ask a stranger, not when it's a house full of women, for sanitary products and things like that. So how bad was it when you was there? Like I get you're saying, and I know you're still cool with the family, so I don't want to like make you really throw them under the bus or say anything, but it had to be some.
There's no such thing as throwing nobody up under the bus if it's the truth. You just cooking. Keep cooking in that kitchen. Cook them greens and shit. Because that's all I'm hearing. Because I don't know what he talking about. I don't know what this nigga talking about. Because we already, man, come on.
Thing, Kenneth, to
Shit, man.
make Naziah venture out to start being groomed by Jarvis Buds.
I think, I think that, and I've always felt this, and this is even from my own growing up experiences, that there are people that are strict. And I think it's sometimes hard to measure the strictness level. Because to be too strict can be just as bad as not being strict at all. And I think sometimes that's hard for people to gauge that. And I even heard Florentino tell me, they were not allowed to do certain things when they were growing up. Things that I did, you know, I had company come over, I had, spend the nights, I had, stuff like that. So there's some things they were not allowed to do.
Kenneth, cut the shit. If you are willing to put a life insurance policy and leave it to these children before your man, your mamas, and Ned, and whoever the case may be, why did these kids feel uncomfortable to come to you in the midst of all of this shit? If you cared about them so much, how was Jarvis able to sleep with this? Because listen, how was Jarvis able to have this girl everywhere? But conveniently, when the big shit happened, that's when you was in Ohio. I think it's safe to say that you don't really know the shit of importance.
And there was a strictness level there, and I think sometimes maybe a little too strict. But whatever it is, that's I never put myself in nobody's shoes to be there, be parenting. But I just think that there's some things that maybe was a little too strict. Um, which can sometimes be a trigger that would cause people to want to not be around, um, or to not live under that type of dictatorship, because in order to be a leader, you must be a follower, so that you know how to gauge certain things. But if you never allow
This nigga
yourself to
over
be a
here, he
follower and
trying
you're
to drop
always the leader,
jams. He trying
then
to sound
it's
woke.
like a pastor at a church. If the pastor don't listen to the members, how can he properly shepherd them if he don't know what his sheep needs?
Yeah.
And
So
you
did
can't you
Florence
can't assume you can't assume that you know. You have to know that you know.
um so what
Carlisha, that's love right there. One sub, please. Let's get me to 5K. Let's get it.
did Florentino ever say anything exactly what she was strict about and things like that? Did he ever break down anything that he felt like, because we heard at 40 years of CPS that Annette did lose all her children, and like she had some CPS cases. And I want to be honest, she had some CPS cases, and that most of the kids did run away. And all your kids for generations, I'm just being honest with you, and you're a spiritual man, Evangelist Kenneth. So we just got to be honest and transparent that all kids aren't running away just because you're strict.
You know, that's why I say again, sometimes when you're too strict, when you're going over the line of strict of being a leader, and you're becoming more of it's a name they call it, and I can't think of it right now, but when you get into that level, that will cause people to want to leave your presence, because you're doing too much. You're going over the line.
Can I cut in real quick and just ask you a question to kind of piggyback on what you're saying? At any time, did you ever speak with Annette about how strict she was being on the kids?
No, because I don't like.
But how strict was she to y'all? Because I read the text message where Naziah was saying, meet me downstairs, and there's 12 kids in the house. So how strict was she? You feel what I'm saying? Because to me, that's not strict. Nigga, like what do y'all consider to be fucking strict? She said, meet me upstairs in the bathroom. She went as far to say, please give Shannon some thing. Bro, y'all, what do y'all consider? This girl wasn't strict. She was everywhere but the house. The fuck is these people talking about? Is he crazy?
Cause see, I don't get into
This nigga still got to be in Ohio.
telling
It ain't no
people
way.
what to do with their children. Whatever. The way I look at life is like this: if I see you putting too much uh paprika in the pot, and I know that it's gonna be nasty, that's your pot that you gotta eat. That ain't my pot. That's your pot.
Nigga, where is Naziah? We don't give a fuck about no paprika. This nigga, I gotta get another
And
drink.
so
I ain't gonna be able to
I
make it.
don't get
I ain't gonna be able to make
involved
it. I ain't
with
gonna be able to
trying
make
to
this
tell
shit.
people,
This
how
motherfucker
to raise
paprika.
their children. I just know that there's some things that I wouldn't do, and there's some things that I wouldn't even subscribe to doing if I were in those shoes. That's just me. But I don't get involved with telling people how to raise their children. That ain't my lane. I stay in my lane.
So so you never seen anything with all the abuse that that the world is learning and America's learning. You never seen anything that they're putting out, because it seems like it's been going on for a very long time, Kenneth. And I do want to get into something that did come out in 40 years of CPS. So you never witnessed anything, or did you just turn a blind eye? Can you be honest and say, maybe I did see
I know
something, but
the only thing, like I said, is I've seen was the strictness, and I often commented to other friends about that probably a little too strict. But it was my lane to be in, and I didn't I don't turn a blind eye to things. It's just that if I didn't see it, I just literally did not see it. And so I'm telling you that I did not see it. But then, as they say, sometimes when you're not in the closed doors all the time, you don't see everything. But I didn't see any of that. And as far as if I'm getting points, first and foremost,
Yo, don't play with me,
you
man.
know, now Marquita and Shannon is grown women, right? So as the grown woman, whoever you choose to screw, that's your own business. You know, now I would suggest that maybe you slow down to know
Appreciate you,
who you're
Tori.
messing around with because obviously they did this, which is why we're here now having this conversation about this individual. But who you deal with, that's your business. That ain't got nothing to do with nobody else who you deal with. But how you moderate it too has, you know, an effect, a big.
I love children with all my heart. But I'm not putting no children on my life insurance policy that I'm not checking on adamantly. Those children will have to be like extensions of me. The fact of the matter that you were willing to do that, okay? But you know what I mean? You really knew nothing about them, especially in the height of their troubles. It's alarming as fuck to me. It's blasphemy as it is. I can't turn it off. I'm like, what else is he gonna say different? I don't even understand it.
Effect on its outcome. And obviously there wasn't enough moderation there.
And was you dealing with the was you evangelist at the time you was messing with Florentino? Because they're like, he's a man of God, why would he, it's just, what I'm saying, as a man of God, offer guidance instead of just being a friend and saying, oh, I don't want to get into your business, but with you being a man of the cloth, you're giving your.
Yeah, because how old is Kenneth from Florentino? Because Kenneth at least is 97 years old. I promise you. So how old is Kenneth? Florentino.
Guidance on that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I did speak about the situation with Marquita, and we kind of fell out for a minute during that time. So I'm like, okay, you grown. I'm not your parent. I don't have the right to tell you what to do. But I'm gonna pray for you. But I don't have the right to tell you what to do, and you do what you do. So I did speak about that, and we actually fell out about it, and that wasn't something that I wanted to get into. But, I just believe that, again, listening, understanding could have curbed this whole situation. I believe that these two young ladies, whom I've known since they were teenagers, young teenagers, I believe that when they got grown, whoever they chose to mess with, or whoever they allowed to mess, themselves to mess with, that was extremely exclusively on them, because they make their choices for their lives. What my stepdad used to always say, what go in my mouth don't come out your butt. And what go in your mouth don't come out my butt.
Kenneth, the fuck are you talking about? Butts and nuts and mouths. We don't care nothing about that. All right? What we care about was you driving Jarvis back in the day. Where's Naziah? You know what I mean? You talking about everything but butts and nigga.